Good morning. I have to have a little drink of tea before I get started. Good morning, it's Dana. So I'm in a little bit of a pickle right off the start because my new company's name is just Dana Del Val. But I made a proclamation on Daily Dose, I don't know, I think this week, that I would never speak about myself in third person because it reminded me of the most recent previous president of the United States, which, so it feels funny to say it's Dana with Dana Del Val. So I have to work through that, figure out what I'm going to do with that. But I am coming to you from this idea of being at the intersection of remarkable and so ordinary, which are the two definitions of the word extraordinary, which is really how I think about my place in the world. I feel both remarkable and so ordinary at almost every moment of every day. And I'm betting that you do too. So that's some of the work that I'm trying to unravel for myself and also hopefully for you. So I have a couple of things to talk about today. I even made notes. Like, I'm trying to get serious about this, people. So the first thing I want to talk about is a blog post I wrote earlier this week about flitting. Because I am finding that I am in this place of almost constant panic. Now, panic is a little bit dramatic, but place of constant anxiety around, is this the best use of my limited time to be learning and practicing and growing this side thing I'm doing? So I listened to a podcast, but the whole time I'm listening to a podcast, I'm thinking, but I should be reading this book. And so then I stop the podcast halfway and I start the book. And the whole time I'm reading the book, I think, oh my gosh, I forgot to meditate this morning. So then I stop the book and I do the meditation. And the whole time I'm meditating, I'm thinking, you've only written one blog post this week. And I have it's not fear of missing out. I have like a fear of not pursuing the right thing. FONPTT. That is not an acronym that just trips right off the tongue, is it? But I can't, I feel like I have to take in all of the information and I have to spit out all of the learning all of the time. And because of that, I'm in this sort of place of all the damn time. And it's exhausting and it's not efficient or effective. It is not efficient or effective. And it's a terrible way to pursue anything because I'm enjoying nothing. So I'm having all of this great opportunity and all I'm doing the entire time I'm in whatever thing I'm in is looking around. When you're at parties and you are introduced to someone who very quickly realizes that you're not important, and so they start to do this over you. Yeah. Oh, wow, that's interesting. Oh, sorry, I have to go. That's what I feel like I'm doing. And believe me, many times I have been on the receiving end of that conversation, and it is sucky. So I don't want to do that with learning. I don't want to do that with writing and reading and hearing around this idea of being remarkable and so ordinary. So I have to figure some things out. Okay, so I took an action step yesterday. I actually took two action steps. The first was I put out an invitation. I put out an invitation on all my social media channels that I was going to do a 30-minute planning session at 4:30, and anybody who wanted to join me was welcome to join me, and that I would have a little prompt and that you could construct that 30-minute window however you wanted. And no one joined me. One person was going to join me and then she had a work emergency. So I really thought today, are you going to tell people that no one joined you, or are you going to pretend like it was great and make people feel like, oh, I should have gone, I'll go to the next one? I'm nothing if not unfailingly honest. No one joined me, but I did it anyway. I set a 30-minute timer. I had gone, excuse me, I just had 2 big pieces of toast. Really nice homemade toast, though. I had gone to a store earlier in the day. I decided that what I needed to try to sort of wrap my head around all of this panic was I needed something tangible. So I went and I bought a planner. I don't use planners in my real world. In my real world, I use my online computer calendar, my online calendar. Because it's super useful and it allows me to send calendar invites and it does all the things that I needed to do. But it doesn't really work for this kind of work because if I put all of this content creation into that calendar, it would be so packed that I wouldn't be able to separate the Arts Partnership from Daily Dose, from Dana Del Val, from life. So I bought this really pretty cheap planner. I put my own branded stickers on it. I felt so crafty. You know I'm not a crafter or an artist really of any kind. So anything like this makes me feel like, oh, look at me being artistic. Artistic. And I just used it just for all this side gig. So I filled in February and I set some goals. And now look at March. Here's March. The month hasn't even come yet and it's already packed. But I feel a little bit better, like I have DDV live stream on every Saturday. That's this. Okay, well, I know I'm doing that. And I put in when I'm going to put up Facebook posts and when I'm going to put up an Instagram post and all those things. And that's what I did in my 30 minutes. I filled out the beginning of my new planner. And I went back and I filled out January and February just to sort of see where I had been so that I could get to the end of this year and know what I've done the whole year. And I did feel a little bit better for doing this. And I feel like it allows me to take it out of my head and onto paper. And so I can wake up and I say, oh, wow, okay, so I need to write a Facebook post on the 2nd. That's probably gonna be a blog. I better get that blog written sometime this weekend. Okay, easy peasy. So then I also bought this book. This is a little compendium book to her other books. You know, I love her. I love her, love her, love her. She's irreverent and smart and funny and kind of a complete mess. But I will say this. I wrote to her marketing people to see if she would come on Daily Dose because she's a recovering addict. And they certainly didn't write back and say yes, but they wrote back. And they didn't say no. They gave me a very kind, answer. But they wrote back. So that was kind of a tiny win. All right, so I was reading a little bit of this book yesterday. And here's the second point. I have an aspirational bio to lay out for you. Here's hers. Jen Sincero is a world-renowned author, success coach, and motivational speaker who spent over a decade helping people transform their lives. All right, I read that and I thought, geez, that's kind of what I'm trying to do. So here's mine. Dana Del Val is a world-renowned author, coach, and motivational speaker who helps people disrupt their personal systems to articulate and achieve their highest calling. I actually really love that and will really love it when it comes true. So I thought that was sort of interesting. All right, then I am rereading a book that I got, 3 weeks ago because I'm having a conversation with this woman, which is kind of a big, I'm trying to stop qualifying with kind ofs and sort ofs because A, it's super Midwestern and B, it's just stupid filler. It's a big deal. She's part of this online recognized experts group that I'm part of and someone else connected her to me and she agreed. So her name is Laura Gassner-Otting and she's written a book called Limitless. So I decided before I talked to her on March 2nd, I should read the book. So I ordered it and I read it a couple weeks ago and now I'm rereading it. And it's really quite lovely. She's very lyrical in her writing, which I'm fascinated by because it's clearly a business book, but it is not quite so simplistic. So I really, as a writer, as a person who cares about words, I really appreciate that. But I want to tell you her basic premise, and then this is the prompt for you to consider over the weekend. she has this idea of consonance. So, consonance is the sense of frictionless belonging, of momentous stride, of core relevance. It's a guiding force that reveals how your work, whatever that may be, contributes to your overall life's plan. It connects your daily activities to the success of those around you and gives you clarity about why you, specifically you, matter. Consonance is not just purpose writ large, it's your purpose, freely and clearly defined by you and put into action through awareness of and alignment with your life's plan. So you can see what I'm talking about, this sort of lyrical writing. That's not much of a business book structure. Okay, so that's lovely. What the hell does that mean? So then she's got this, and this is the practical piece. The 4 elements of consonance. The elements of consonance are calling, connection, contribution, and control. And you will need to have at least some of each of the 4. So I'm going to just read you these 4 little definitions of calling, connection, contribution, and control. Calling is a gravitational pull towards a goal larger than yourself. A business you want to build, a leader who inspires you, a societal ill you wish to remedy, a cause you wish to serve. Connection gives you sight lines into how your everyday work serves that calling by solving the problem at hand, growing the company's bottom line, or reaching that goal. Contribution means that you understand how this job, this brand, this paycheck contributes to the community to which you want to belong, the person you want to be, or the lifestyle you'd like to live. And control. Control reflects how you are able to influence your connection to that calling in order to have some say in the assignment of projects, deadlines, colleagues, and clients. Offer input into shared goals, and do work that contributes to your career trajectory and earnings. You can think of it this way. Until we are able to control how our connection and our contribution influence and are influenced by our calling, we will continue to be limited in the confidence we have and the choices we make. And then the book goes on to sort of lay this out in more detail with great examples. But I'm reading the book for a second time because it's not straightforward. So I want to make sure before I get on my 30-minute call with her, I don't sound like a bumbling dimwit. Because these are the kinds of calls that, I don't have unlimited access to her. She's a coach, and she's a very, very high-powered, high-paying coach. So I'm getting these 30 minutes with her for free, which is lovely. But that is my prompt for you. Where do you fall in these 4 elements of consonance? What's your calling? What's your connection? What is your contribution? And what control do you need to have? And I will tell you, I have not yet fully filled this thing out. And I feel like I know what I want, but I think that's part of the problem. Because I was not able to kind of effortlessly fill out these 4 areas, there are definitely still questions that I have not answered for myself, which is probably why then this personal systems disruption work is not working the way I want it to. Because if I can't answer those questions for myself, then why would I expect anyone else would buy into it? Why would I expect that? If I sit down with a potential funder for my day job and they say, well, talk to me about why the arts really matter, and I can't answer that, which believe me, I can, then I don't get funding. Now, here's my great challenge for myself. I've been at that job for 10 and a half years. It probably took me the first 7 years to feel like I could effortlessly rattle off why the arts matter, what the connection is, what the, all the pieces. I know all of that. Upwards, downwards, backwards, forwards. I do not want it to take another 10 years for me to get to that place with personal systems disruption work. That makes me almost 60. I don't want to get started at almost 60. I want to be started now. So my weekend goal is to continue to fill out my new planner and to be as clear and specific about that as I can be, because I do think there is value in just getting the stuff that is rattling around in your brain that isn't actually there to take your thoughts deeper, but is just sort of filler, like packing peanuts. If scheduling is the packing peanuts of my brain, get those out. They take up way too much space and they serve no purpose beyond keeping the product safe. Well, the product I know about, so I need to create more space for that. Maybe that was a weird analogy. Sometimes I think my analogies don't work, but I never know that till I'm in it, through it, and past it. So it's all right. So last reiteration of this for you from the book Limitless by Laura Gassner-Otting. What are the 4 elements of consonance and how can you fill them in? What's your calling? Where do you need to have connection? Why does this contribution matter? And where can you find control? If you go to her website, you can find a little bit more about this if you don't have her book at home, which you may or may not. But I do encourage you to read the book. It's good. It's very good. I like it. But it's going to take me 2 or 3 times of reading it to feel like I have a general sense of what's happening. So, figure out what can help declutter your brain. Might be a planner. It might be I don't know what. Whatever it is for you. Think through those 4 C's: calling, connection, contribution, control. The next time I invite the social media world to join me for a 30-minute planning session, I hope you'll take advantage of it because it was really actually lovely. 30 minutes, you can get a lot done in 30 focused minutes when you know that the end is that alarm. What I got done was what I got done, and then I set it aside and I didn't spend the rest of the night feeling guilty that I hadn't done more. I knew I was only going to do 30 minutes worth, and then it was done. So I think there's a lot of power to that. And I think that's all. So enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks for watching. And remember, you are extraordinary. I'll see you next week. Bye.